At Wake Forest, it's our goal to provide a world-class student-athlete experience. The gifts we receive for student-athlete scholarships provide the opportunity for us to not only achieve this goal, but continue to elevate the experience and strive forward. We're extremely proud to witness the success of our young men and women, both academically and athletically, as student-athletes at Wake Forest. As always, thank you for your continued support of the Demon Deacons and our mission of providing a world-class student-athlete experience. Go Deacons!
Y'all, tell you what, after watching that, I'm pretty fired up. If it wasn't for a hamstring, I'd be ready to race for the Deeks again. Y'all, it's wonderful to have you all here. We are thrilled to be back in the room with so many familiar faces, some of our new student athletes, new endowed donors, and we are grateful for your time and for being here. As you can see up on the screen, we have our athletic department vision and goals. We strive every day to be a model intercollegiate athletic program, and we work hard on those goals that you see up there. And I'll tell you what, we don't do them alone. We all do that together, right? There's so many of those goals on that board that we all work together for, and there's a lot to be proud of as we look back from the fall, this winter, and what we have to look ahead to this spring. Round of applause for our student athletes and coaches in the room for all their wonderful hard work. We have a great afternoon set up, and you all, I know, will enjoy it. I'd first like to recognize and welcome President Susan R. Wente, a visionary leader, member of the ACC Executive Committee, and someone I think has pretty high expectations for our athletic programs as she moves forward as president here. Dr. Wente, welcome. I'd love for our Deacon Club and advancement colleagues to please stand for a moment, if you don't mind, in the room. Barry Faircloth, first up. I want to say thank you to our Deacon Club staff and our University advancement staff for their hard work and all their energy that they put forth into making Wake Forest a better place on behalf of today's student athletes and future student athletes. I'd love to thank our fan communication group, help with the video, fan experience team, and our donor experience team, Maddie Overby, Anna Vaughn Lowers, April Bass, and Shannon Rogers for putting this wonderful event together for us today. Round of applause for Maddie and that whole team. Y'all, it wouldn't be athletics if we didn't have goals, okay? We got 2 goals for today. Connect, and our other goal is to celebrate. So, in honor of connecting, I would love for you all to pull out your phones because I know you're already looking at them anyway. So why don't you pull those out? And in your program for the day or on the screen, there's a QR code. This is for everybody. This is going to be active today. We're going to be active. Please take a photo and log in. This is the Wake Network. Y'all, if you haven't been on the Wake Network yet, I'm going to talk to our student athletes first. This is a fantastic resource for you. When we recruit you, we talk about these next 4 to 5 years or for the next 40 to 50. Well, this is a tool that's going to help you get there and make you successful. It's your opportunity as you're at these types of events, after games, and in the community, meeting Wake Forest alumni and friends of the program, that you could follow up with them and you could reach out to them and continue to build on these relationships that I know will be lasting for a long, long time to come. And for our supporters in the room, this is the new thing. We want you to get familiar with this as best as you can. It's not only an opportunity for you to connect with old classmates and track people down that haven't been opening emails because you got an AOL email for them and they have a Gmail one now, all right? It's also a wonderful tool to understand and see your philanthropy at Wake Forest. If you're an endowed scholarship donor, within that philanthropy tab, you'll be able to see not only your current recipient of that scholarship, but all your past recipients. And in addition to being able to see that and understand the market value of your scholarship and how it's performing and your contributions to it, you can also, through that, look at the letters and the correspondence that your student athletes provide to you. Our student athletes take time multiple times a year to write to you and communicate with you, one of the ways that they reach out. And we love for you to have that right there, to be reminded of the ways that you're transforming lives and you're helping our student athletes have a wonderful and world-class experience here at Wake Forest. So thank you all. I encourage you all to use that as we go about. There's another piece of information in front of you, and there's also another QR code. We're getting good at QR codes here at Wake Forest as well. Our impact guide on Forever Deeks. You all may ask yourself, what's a Forever Deek? A Forever Deek is someone who's established an athletic endowment, someone who gives to our program endowments to support our programs and our different sports, or someone who has Wake Forest earmarked in their estate. I know Shada Horner is here with University Advancement and Planned Giving, and we're going to keep Shada busy as we go forward in our conversations here over the next couple of years. But in this, we have some goals, more goals. We aspire to have a one-to-one relationship with student athletes and our endowed donors. We have some work to do, but we are making some great progress, and I'll talk about that here in a moment. But we know that relationships are key. It's where collaboration can happen, lives can get transformed, and I promise you to the endowed donors in the room who are just starting this process, you're going to get a lot more out of it than what you've put into it. And for our student athletes, this is a no judgment area, okay? The folks who are supporting you through scholarships, they're not going to grade any papers, all right? They're not going to make you worry about any playing time or running extra or working out harder. They're here for you. They're here for you because they care about Wake Forest, they care about the experience you're having, and they want you to be successful. As you flip through that guide, you can see there's a pie chart that articulates our path to fully endowing the athletic aid through endowment, okay? We have made some real progress there, and I'm very confident that we will have some moments to celebrate in the future, and I'll tell you why. Since the last time we were in this room, which was in February of 2020, we've had just a few scholarships established. Anyone want to take a guess in the room how many scholarships we've had created since we've last been in here? Just start throwing out numbers. 22, how many? 35? I wish it was 120. It will be if you give us another year after this event. 57 individuals, absolutely. 57 individuals have made a statement that they care about Wake Forest and they care about our student athletes. So who are these people? They're alumni, they're former student athletes, okay? They're parents, they're grandparents, they're friends of Wake Forest. Some of those scholarships that you'll read through as the slides go, they're teammates that came together to create scholarships, right? So a cool way for them to stay in touch and engage with Wake Forest and also have an impact on a student athlete. Last year, we celebrated 50 years of women's athletics at Wake. Through that effort alone, over 30 scholarships were created for our women's programs. And we've had 20-plus scholarships created through a matching scholarship program. And I'll tell you what, matching scholarship allows so many people an earlier entry point into this relationship that we're hoping to build because they didn't think maybe they could get there because of what originally it would take to endow a scholarship. But these matching scholarships have been something that we as a Deacon Club staff are seeking and also looking to make connections for, and we love it. The sooner the better we can get our student athletes and our endowed donors together, we know great things will happen. Y'all, I told you we'll celebrate, and we have some celebrating to do, and I would love to call up to the stage Executive Senior Associate Athletic Director of Development and Sales, Barry Faircloth. Barry, I almost ran out of breath. Come on up.
Bishop, I've got a task for you. Will you please go to my parents' table and help them get on the Wake Network? Because that's the next phone call I'm going to get. Barry, will you please come here and help us get on the Wake Network? I actually did it. It was pretty easy. I'm serious. But what a great event. It's great to see everybody. It's like the first time since COVID, which this is the event that I miss the most. Bringing our athletes, our donors, our staff, our families together to really just celebrate Wake Forest athletics. So it's great to be back together. Also, each year, we recognize one donor family who's gone above and beyond, and we recognize them as the Deacon Club Member of the Year. This is a very difficult process because so many of you do so many great things, but you know what? We got to pick one. And this year, I'm proud to announce the Deacon Club Member Family of the Year is Gaither and Beverly Keener. Gaither and Beverly, please come up. While they're making their way up, I'm just going to say a couple of words about Gaither and Beverly. There's 4 ways that you can support Wake Forest, right? Those ways are, 1, to buy tickets and attend games, right? And I'm not sure if there's a family that owns more tickets than Gaither and Beverly. They have a suite in the tower. They have Flo Lexus club level seats. They've got about 10 football seat rights in the Stadium Bowl. They have a premium club table at baseball at the Couch Ballpark. They're longtime premium floor seat holders at the Coliseum. They have 8 women's and men's soccer tickets. If you're ever in a pinch for a ticket, call Gaither. So thank you for that. Secondly, to be an advocate, right? And there is not a couple that's more of an advocate for Wake Forest athletics than Gaither and Beverly. They typically have their entire family. Grace is typically in tow with 2 grandkids. You see them all the time. Joseph is always around, as well as family and friends. And, of course, they've got a full table here tonight. They typically come about 30 strong to a game. So thank you for inviting so many people to attend Wake events with you. Third, philanthropic gifts. The Keeners have given to all aspects of Wake Forest athletics and the law school. Within athletics, they've endowed a number of athletic scholarships, as well as a law school scholarship, and I think they've done a bunch of scholarships at Western Carolina, our friends right down the road, and we thank you for that. They're members of the International Leadership Circle at the silver level, one of our highest levels. They've supported every capital project with significant naming gifts, like the Keener Horn Baseball Training Room, the Keener Olympic Sports Strength and Conditioning Center. If you go upstairs, the 3rd floor lobby is named after the Keeners. Gaither has a pillar out in front of Truist Field to recognize $1 million of support for the football program. And I would imagine if he is not already, he was probably going to support Roll the Quad as well. Time and expertise, right? Gaither joined the Deacon Club Board in 2010, right around there, served as the Deacon Club Board president, and still active on our board today. And he has rewritten our bylaws, currently serves on the benefits committee, and it's really through this board service and his time that I've spent with Gaither that I've grown to appreciate the intellect, the expertise of that brilliant legal mind that you have. This gift, really one of our most precious assets, that of time, is what I appreciate the most. Gaither and Beverly, we love you. Congratulations on being Deacon Club Board members of the year.
I use my phone, but my wife told me to write notes, keep it short, and keep it to what I wrote down. That is hard for me to do, and I'll give you an example. 25 years ago, my minister, one of my best friends, Rob Evans, who played tackle at NC State, 1968, 1972, asked me to talk about stewardship at our church. And I said, sure. I said, how much time I got? He said, 10 minutes. Take a biblical verse and talk about it. So I thought about that, and I said, one biblical verse on stewardship and tithing? So I wrote my epistle out, and I got up, and I read several verses, and then I read Shakespeare. I gave the minister 5 minutes for his sermon as I kept on going. And as my wife said, never ask me to pray, because I may go all day. So, I'm going back to my notes. But as Bev told me and reminded me, we have a basketball game to attend. There's a baseball game at 6 we'll miss. Keep it short, as you're not being paid for each word you speak. We would like to recognize our family who are here with us today. My daughter Grace, Brad, 2 grandkids, Mac and Carter, who live and die at Wake Forest. Our son Joseph and his family were unable to be here with us today. Joseph was going to drive 5 hours from where he is to be here for this lunch and drive back. I told him, no way in heck. You see, you cannot be a part of our family if you don't live and die Wake Forest. Bev's sister, cousin actually, and her best friend, Teresa, and her husband, one of my closest friends, Carl, are also with us. You'll always see us together at any Wake function or any Wake game. Also, Quincy Bryant's with us, freshman from Georgia, sophomore now, who's my scholar, one of my scholars. You should know all our children and grandchildren were brainwashed and baptized to be Deacon fans from the day they were born, or should I say, the day they were conceived. We even celebrate birthday parties at games. We consider our Deacon friends as our family, especially Ron, John, Barry, Tish, Michael, Bill, Maddie, and numerous others that I cannot name. Oh, I got Paul in here. I didn't say Paul. But listen to this. Paul and the others are like my brothers. Our relationship was built on honesty and trust. Paul can say anything to me, and I'll listen, and he normally gets what he wants. He never asks, he just says, can you help? I still remember the day Barry took me out and walked the football field and told me how much money he needed. And I had committed to something. I called Bev. I said, we need a double. Then I called Bev, and I said, I may need double that, but we'll pay it off. That's when I was working. Bev and I really do not know what we have done to receive this recognition. We're being very honest. But I want to tell you about our journey, which began over 47 years ago. And you should know, my wife is an Appalachian State graduate, and she has been supportive of my and her love for Wake. The Lord has blessed us. The Lord has given us the opportunity to share our love and assets with our university. Excuse me. My mother, so dear, gave me the opportunity to be successful. My mother, so dear. 47 years ago, I met Bev at a Wake and Appalachian football game. September 1975, we lost 1917. I lost. But I actually won, as I met the love of my life. 47 years ago, January 10th, 1976. 3 months after I met her, we had our first date. I drove up to Wilkes County. I drove the Fair Plains. I picked her up, drove her back down here, no 4-lane roads then. Took her to eat at Steak and Ale, and then we went to the basketball game. I borrowed somebody's ticket. I can't remember what her name was. What was her? Booker or something like that. And we had our first date, and Wake beat Maryland. Wake was ranked, Maryland was ranked. Our second date was the next Saturday. We lost to Clemson. 46 years ago, on June 1 of 1976, I told her we were going to be married. I never asked. And those who know me understand me. I'm always direct to the point, which is part of my core values. 47 years ago, actually 46 years ago, the fall of '76, we drove our first road trip, away football game at Michigan. Cannot believe they parked us on a golf course. And we have made many road trips since. 47 years ago, we purchased 4 season football tickets. Although it was only us, we decided we needed to have tickets for our kids. And we joined the Deacon Club when I graduated from law school in '77. Yes, our life revolves around our love for Wake Forest and its student athletes. Bev has been with me for this journey, and she has been my partner in crime at every endeavor we have undertaken to support Wake Forest. We have a common passion for our university. And you notice I said our university. My wife, we stream games when we can't get over here, puts on her black and gold every time. I'll close with this comment. The comment I have made numerous times, and many may get tired of hearing me say the thing at Deacon Club board meetings. Buy season tickets for all sports, no matter where you live. How can you serve on a board of your university without the simple aspects of buying season tickets? I don't care if it's volleyball, whatever, you buy season tickets. But here I am preaching to the choir. You are the choir, and you understand the message. Amen? With that said, thank you, as this is a true honor to our family. And for our mother, so dear, go Deeks, beat the hell out of the Irish. Let's go to the game.
I am fired up. Let's go buy some season tickets. The tickets office is open. I'm now going to ask, thank you, Gaither and Bev, everybody, the whole family here. Congratulations. Thank you. We're forever grateful. I now want to ask Michael Kern up, football player, to give our invocation, blessing, whatever you want to call it. Michael? Look at that picture. That's pretty good, Michael. Come on up.
All right, well, if you bow your heads. Lord, we just want to thank you for tonight. We want to thank you for the generosity of the people in this room, Lord, and the opportunity it's given us as athletes to just pursue the thing we love, Lord, pursue to steward the gifts you've given us. I pray tonight would be a night where we could foster relationships. You would bless these conversations, Lord, and we would walk out of here just knowing how thankful we are for what you've given us through the people in this room, Lord. But we love you so much. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, I'm the last person between you and dinner.
Y'all, I want to report, if I can have your attention, I want to report that Miss Becky and Bill Faircloth have successfully joined the Wake Network, Barry. It took a minute, but we got there. We got there. Y'all, I'm going to bring up some special guests for us to provide some perspective on their Wake Forest relationship and what the student-athlete relationship means, what our supporters relationship means, and we are thrilled to have these guests with us. First up is my Long Island buddy, Kaia Harrison, a senior communication entrepreneurship major, point guard on our women's basketball team. During her time at Wake Forest, she's played in over 100 games for the Deeks, starting every game over the last 2 years. She's been voted team captain during her career while also playing a significant part in the Deeks reaching the 2021 NCAA tournament. The lead guard helped Coach Jebbia Era get off to a good start. Coach, how are you? And she's netted career-high 15 points in the season opener over Elon in November. 2022-23 has been Harrison's best season in her career. Thanks for staying around. All right. Recording career highs in points, assists, rebounds, and minutes. She's currently the recipient of the Patricia L. Smith Women's Basketball Scholarship for Leadership and Development. And I know Patty's here today. There she is. Patty, thank you. Next up, I'd like to bring a good friend, and I think we took some convincing. We had to really convince him that we weren't going to ask him to dance or sing. Barry put you in a tough spot when you were a student athlete, Ryan, but Ryan Janvion, Ryan, a football alum, 2016, was born and raised in Miami. He is the recipient of the William and Rebecca Salter Athletic Academic Excellence Scholarship. He was a member of the football team from 2012 to 2016. He was a 3-year captain under Coach Clausen, 4-year starter, freshman All-American honors, All-ACC honorable mention. You were the Jim Tatum Award winner for top student athlete football player in the ACC. And this one's pretty cool. Ryan was also Wake Forest's first National Scholar Athlete and Campbell Trophy finalist, honoring the top 10 best overall student athletes in the sport of football in the country. A business and enterprise management major, Ryan's now married to Stephanie, a fellow Deke. Deke's in love, that we just had that like 2 weeks ago.
I did ask her to be my wife, which apparently was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah. You just tell her. You tell her. Oh, we're going to have fun up here in a minute. It's going to be good. Director of Sales and Digital Health Space, partnering with biotech and pharma. Ryan, it is so good to have you back home here at Wake Forest. And lastly, I'd love to bring up Ginny Charest, 1986 alum, volleyball student athlete. Upon graduating from Wake Forest with a degree in econ, she worked for the Bank of Boston in the foreign multinational division. She went on to work as a commercial real estate appraiser with Time Warner Company in their publishing arm of the business. She's involved in her family land and development business and sawmill timber. Ginny's been married 24 years to Wade. Did you tell him or ask? Or did he ask? He asked. Good for him. Wade Charest. They have 2 sons, Ryan and Connor, both still currently in college, soon to be off the payroll. In addition to that, Ginny is serving on our Deacon Club Board of Directors, and she was a volleyball student athlete during her time at Wake and has since established, as a student athlete alum, the Charest Family Volleyball Scholarship. Ginny, welcome. Thank you. Well, we're going to start. I think this is on. There you go. Kaia. So you're right next to me, and that's just easiest. Okay. Kaia, can you tell us about what it was that brought you to Wake Forest University?
Yeah, so my recruiting process was pretty stressful, and it usually is for most student athletes, but I wanted to go somewhere not close to home, so I definitely wanted to that was I still love my parents.
By the way, your mom is like right there.
I did want to.
Just making sure.
Not too far, but not too close as well. So
that is much better.
So one important thing was like family feel. That's the first thing I felt when I stepped on campus. I saw the beautiful campus and I saw the beautiful facilities, and I also saw the construction that they were doing and the investment that they were putting into Wake, and it really opened my eyes. And I mean, I saw other campuses as well. I only took 2 official visits, but coming to Wake, I had the feeling right away, and just seeing the culture of the program, and I wanted to come in and make a change. So that was probably the main reason on why I chose Wake Forest, and definitely because just where we are right now, like how the alumni come back and they support the student athletes here. I think that's really important, and that was one of the main things for me is how they come back, they build those relationships, and they help us when we leave. So yeah.
Wonderful. Ryan, how about for you? What kind of feelings did you have visiting campus, and what's your story here on that?
So I wanted to go far from home, not too far from home. I wanted to play big-time football, but I also wanted to get just the best-in-class academics and get a degree that would pay dividends for a lifetime. And so at Wake, it was really a combination of both things. I could play big-time ACC football. The program had success. Grobe at the time did a great job. Went to the ACC championship, kind of momentum there. But then also the fact that I could go to a world-class business school and get individual attention. One thing that's very different about Wake is it's not like going to a Florida State or a UF or some of these other schools where you're 1 in 40,000 students. You really do get an individualized attention and people know who you are. And it's the fact that you can play on a big stage, but also have the intimacy that these classroom settings have, where you can get to know your professors, you can get to know, your coaches, other professors, and even the alumni, that when I come back 6 years, 7 years later, it makes the world of a difference to be able to have conversations with so many of you that have made such an impact on me during my time at Wake Forest.
Ryan, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing, and we're proud to have you back, and looking forward to talking more here in a moment. Ginny, how about you and your connection that you've had with Wake? What's led to it being so strong since your time as a student athlete to all the things that you've done to stay involved and engaged?
Well, after I graduated, I went to Boston for a couple of years and then moved back to Florida, and I would come back for our reunions every 5 years, and I joined the Deacon Club, and so I had a connection with that and would try to come back for some games. And it just kind of evolved from there. The more you're on campus, the more you want to be on campus. It's the community, it's all of you that are in this room, that you want to be a part of that and stay connected with each other. And I've enjoyed getting to know more people and to become much more involved than I have been in the past.
Ginny, we're grateful for your involvement and the service on the board, and you're hosting an event on Wednesday?
I am. The volleyball coach is coming to Tampa and share about what exciting new things that they're doing and accomplishing, and it'll be fun to have some alumni over to see what volleyball has done.
We're still accepting RSVPs?
Yes, we are. If anybody's in Tampa on Wednesday, we would love to have you.
Sign me up. I'm ready to go. Ryan, back to you here. I mean, your path since graduation, what's that been like? What kind of wisdom have you picked up along the way? Share with the room. Because one day our student athletes, they're going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 years out.
So it's, I was fortunate enough to be a great both athlete and student, but I will say that the transition from outside of, moving on from football was extremely difficult. And even for someone that really paid attention to academics and really tried hard to make connections and kind of build, a network, you never realize when your sport's going to end. And that's really difficult. For 23 years of my life, I played football. We oftentimes hear, your sport is not your identity, and you get that conceptually, but actually, it's a whole different ball game when something that you care and love so much is gone, and you can't recreate it. You'll never get that feeling back, that energy, that excitement, walking into a stadium with 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people. And, the one thing that I was able to realize is making sure that you leverage and make as many connections as possible. When you think about just human beings in general, the one thing that we crave the most is to be connected to each other, to be loved, to love. During my time as a student athlete, one thing that I wish I would have done more is actually take time to make more connections, more genuine connections, not because I want a job or because I'm trying to, leverage. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt, for sure. But, I think it means so much to be able to come back here and have the connections, but also to be able to gather and to gain crucial perspective, to leverage the perspectives that each and every one of you have of years in business and your perspective, different endeavors that you've done, and listen to your wisdom, listen to your mistakes, listen to what you did right, what you did wrong, how you failed, how you went for things. Because as a 23-year-old, yes, I had all the options in the world, but that oftentimes can be very scary. You have so many options that it can actually paralyze you into figuring out what the heck do I want to do with my life. And there's so much pressure to try to figure that out after college. And one thing that really helped was actually being able to leverage the connections I made to just have conversations with people. Like, I appreciate guys like Ben Sutton, who I built a relationship with when I was here, and just being able to bounce ideas off. He was able to connect me with different people to figure out, what it was I wanted to do after college, and having those conversations were huge. So I will say, if there's one thing that you remember from me here is the ability to build those connections, because I'm realizing now that as a student athlete, I felt awkward reaching out to alumni. And now as an alumnus, I feel awkward reaching out to student athletes. So there's awkwardness on both sides. And that doesn't need to be the case because both sides want to be connected to each other. Student athletes are passionate about getting to know the people in here that have donated so much money so that they can have a scholarship. And obviously you guys wouldn't be doing what you're doing if you didn't love the student athletes. So I think that was huge for me, and I would encourage everyone to do that a lot more on both sides.
Everybody's got a cell phone. We can figure that out before we leave today.
Exactly.
Kaia, Ryan was kind of alluding to just that time and that space that he was in, trying to figure out what he wants to do. I think you got a lot of willing employers in here. What are you hoping to do post-grad?
So I do have aspirations to play professionally overseas after I graduate, and I do want to, end up utilizing my degree, and I do want to work in sports marketing because I do want to stay in the sports world as well. But I definitely do agree with what he said. I think it's important to really network and build these relationships because I'm a senior and time has flown by in a blink of an eye. And now looking back on it, I definitely wish I've made these connections a lot sooner. And it's just good to have because I do truly believe that Wake is not just a 4-year degree; it is a 40-year degree. And I think that these people, it's a family feel all around. We are truly all a family, and I think that these relationships that we build now will come back to us in the future. And I think that these connections are just different from any other school. I don't think that any other school in the country has what we have. So
100% agree. There's no place like Wake Forest. Sticking on the value of the connections and the relationships, you do have a very special one with Patty Smith being on the Patricia Smith Basketball Scholarship for Leadership and Development. Can you talk a little about what that means to you, what that means to your family?
Yeah, so my freshman year, Miss Patty Smith was one of the coaches of the game, and she came right up to me and initiated the conversation, which I didn't know who she was at first, and then she came up to me and told me who she was, and I was kind of put in awe because I didn't know how important this would be until she started reaching out to me more. She texted me all the time. Sends me, words of encouragement, and things like that mean so much to me. And I don't think she realizes that, even though she's just being genuine. She'll send me pictures of, oh, I'm in Boone this weekend. Oh, I'm coming to your game this weekend. So it's little things like that I think are really important, just for building that relationship that that I think that all student athletes need, and it would be really helpful because we go through all this stress and. We want to make people proud, and knowing that, I have her support, it makes it a lot easier. So,
thank you for not making it awkward for Kaia. Patty, that was fantastic of you. And that's wonderful to hear. And I think aspirationally, our scholarship donors in the room would love that relationship, and vice versa. Student athletes in the room, it's something to aspire to have as well. Ginny, for you, as someone who reflected on time as a volleyball student athlete, and we're approached about just the need to begin relationships with endowed donors in the volleyball program. What has the scholarship meant to you that you and your family created?
Well, it has a lot of, when you go into it, you're giving money because there's a need. And so we started the scholarship, and you have a student athlete that is attached to that. And I was not very good with my first recipient. I had children at home and busy days and everything else. And I did come to a couple games. I did meet her. I met her parents. Ashley, we have spoken on the phone. I went to a practice the other day and have enjoyed our time today. And I'm hoping that we will have a closer relationship. That is a benefit of doing this, is that you get to meet the student athletes. I go to, when I went to the practice, I got to meet everybody. I've run into several of them on campus, which has been wonderful. And they recognize me, and it's like having the daughter I don't have.
Ashley, you're invited Wednesday to Tampa. Come on down.
Oh,
Jenny, thank you for sharing, and I
Sure.
appreciate your leadership. Ryan, recently you had the time to speak with Bill Salter, and I'd love for you to just share with the room, if you haven't made, the connection yet, what kind of advice would you give?
Yeah, I would definitely say to do that yesterday. I think it was just amazing to be able to put a face to, the family that was responsible for giving me the opportunity to come to Wake Forest. I think I said in the interview before this, my parents are both immigrants to this country. They didn't have the means to send me to a private institution. I was the only one in my family to go away. I grew up in Miami. My dad's from Cuba, my mom's from Trinidad. I could have never imagined being in an institution like Wake Forest and having the means to go to school here. And so the fact that, your dollars go to not just, giving to Wake Forest, but truly changing someone's life, and not only, my life, but my family's life. My wife is I'm expecting my first child right now.
Future deacon. We've already
future
signed the contract.
Already signed.
That was
If
an
it's a
easy
boy,
decision.
If it's a boy, it's football. If it's a girl, maybe basketball, or I don't know.
Volleyball. Jenny's
There we go.
scared,
Yeah, there you go. Volleyball. Here we go. Scholarship. Maybe it'll be yours. But the impact that the Salter family had on my life, but also my family's life, is and just for generations will be huge, because I was able to do something that has never been seen before in my family, is to go away to college, to get an amazing degree. And so, obviously it's a huge sacrifice to write, the checks that you write, but it's so much different to be able to put a face to the money that you so generously donate, and see the impact that it has, not only for that person's life, but for their entire family for generations. So I would definitely encourage it.
I know we had the Zoom about a month or so ago. Paul Kennedy was on, and I was there at the start of it, and I heard you all went on for a while. And that must have been fun, and I know it was fun for Mr. Salter to get the chance to meet with you. He's really proud, and hopefully that's a relationship that you all keep up for a long time to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also great, as a donor, to be able to see, as we come back to campus, we bring our families back to campus, it's just you build an extended family that you are able to have impact across racial barriers, across generational barriers, across geography barriers, that we can come back and we can visit you, we can take you out to dinner, and kind of give back a little bit when hopefully, we're on our feet, a little bit more financially stable. Hopefully we can afford a house. That houses are now like triple the price back, now. So I don't know how financially stable
Jordan
we'll be.
Jerry will figure it out.
Yeah, JJ's got me. JJ's got me. But no, thank you.
Ginny, how about yourself? Advice to the room, to either the student athletes or folks considering it, or folks with a endowed scholarship right now?
with the student athletes, I would say the connections, definitely. You never know down the road what anybody in this room can do for you. You don't think about that when you're in college. You know, we all think about the next test and the next game, and we're, you know, so busy with our own lives. But everybody in this room, your fellow classmates and all the donors would definitely help you. And I would highly encourage, you know, giving either a scholarship or endowment or something and getting to know the sport that means something to you. You know, I walked onto the volleyball team. I, you know, played for a few years. I played some beach volleyball in Florida for a while. And, you know, it always had a special place in my heart, and it's very satisfying for me to know that I can contribute to someone to have their passion continue through college, and that they are able to attend this wonderful school that offers so much.
Jenny, thank you. Kaia, this is when you have to make everybody cry. Any final thoughts for the room?
First and last. I would just say to my fellow student athletes, just to really, I think we have to like try and stay in the moment. Let's try and stay in the moment. Let's try and actually utilize our degree and actually be grateful for the situation that we're in. I'm actually kind of mad I didn't mention this earlier, but I had the opportunity to go to Truist Bank under the sports administration and John Curry, and that experience was like, I feel like it was an opportunity that not a lot of athletes at another school would get. So I think that it's just really important that, you know, we have to really utilize the opportunity that we're given, really take the time to, you know, build the relationships with your donor, and just even at Wake in general, I would say, just, if I know we stay in our little student athlete world, but I mean, I think we should make friends with, you know, people who aren't athletes, and because those are connections that will last a lifetime as well. And then for the donors, I would just say, also, I think it's important for you guys to, you know, initiate the conversations with the student athletes, and try and just make those connections stronger. Check in as much as you can, because although you may not think that it means a lot, it does in the end. And I think we're all trying to work hard, and we're always in our little bubble, but little things like that could really mean a lot and go a long way.
Awesome. Y'all, round of applause for our panel. Kaia, Ryan, Ginny, thank you. Thank you so very much. And we look forward to having you continue your success on the court and come back as often as you can back to Winston-Salem. I'd like to ask our Director of Athletics, John Curry, all energetic, inspiring, and motivating leader of our vision for the athletics department.
Let's have a big hand for our panelists. And a great job, as always, by Mike Piscatelli. In my role as cleanup, I'm going to follow Gaither's lead. You know, I had all these notes that I had. Will Pantages wrote out this thing I was going to give. It was going to be very eloquent, but I'm going to be like you, Gaither. I've left my prepared remarks at the table. I'm going off the cuff with some follow-up notes to the great emotion that's been shared today. First of all, Barry Faircloth did a fantastic job of introducing all the ways that Gaither and Beverly Keener represent the right things about Deacon Club Member of the Year. And he left one out, though. And he left out that they have an awesome tailgate, right? They have an awesome tailgate. If you don't like butter, you're not allowed to go to the tailgate, because about everything that she has up there, but it is about the best tailgate in the world. Right up there, right near the Deektown fan zone, right there in the McCurry lot. There's always some great stuff. It's the perfect stop when you roll in. Kaia mentioned, since we're at Truist Field and a new, brand new field, thanks to your support, we had a great trip to Truist about a month ago, right, Kaia? It was during our open week, and I think we have 4 or 5 student athletes who were on that trip. Devontae was on that trip, right? Malik was on that trip. Stand up, please. Taylor was on that trip. Juergens was on that trip. Juergens is working on his 12th degree, right? And Kaia was on that trip too, right? And anybody else was on that trip? Harrison Tubbs on our soccer team was on that trip. We had, Olivia was on that trip. We had one more. Okay, y'all can sit back down, right? All right, so we took these student athletes. We took Chase Jones on that trip. Just stand up, Chase. Thank you. That's about as much as Chase ever says right there. All right. But we took some great student athletes down, and they met with the highest level leaders of Truist. And it was important for us to have our student athletes see that kind of opportunity, right? The opportunities beyond athletics, the opportunities that come with the opportunity to be at Wake Forest. But it was more important for Truist because they want to hire all these student athletes, right? Because the student athletes who are coming through Wake Forest because of your support and your generosity are getting incredible leadership experiences on the field, competitive experiences on the field that are going to serve them well in their lives and in their communities and in their businesses, and they're also obviously getting an incredible academic preparation. So it really is the perfect example of what a world-class student-athlete experience is all about. Speaking of world-class athletics, this year, just over the last 14 months, we've had 5 of our head coaches have been ACC Coach of the Year out of 13 head coaches. We've won We've won 3 ACC championships in the last 12 months. We have 3 of our head coaches who are here. Tony Bresky is over here. Stand up, Tony, our national champion in 2018. Former ACC Coach of the Year. Thank you, Tony. We have Jerry Haas over here, ACC champion golf coach. And then right here in the front, we have a future ACC Coach of the Year, our brand new women's basketball coach, Megan Jebbia. And we've already exceeded last year's ACC win total. We have another chance tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and then we play in the tournament probably on Wednesday, it looks like. We'll earn a bye. And we've got an opportunity with a couple more wins to have our first winning season in women's basketball since 2016. So we'll be there at 2 o'clock tomorrow to watch our women's basketball team. There's an expression that you're going to start to hear a lot more around Wake Forest, and it's catalyst for good. Did I get that right, boss? Catalyst for good. All right. And someone who came to us about a year and a half ago, who I would describe as a relentless champion for excellence in all aspects of our university, but especially with especially high expectations for excellence from athletics. And I would just like our president, Dr. Susan Wente, to please stand so you can acknowledge her and thank her for her support. Now, student athletes. I think we have close to 100 student athletes who are here. I see Spencer Claps over there. We got people from all kinds of different sports, except for the ones that are competing. Wake Forest is not a transaction. Wake Forest is a relationship. And that's what you've heard from all the folks here today. And that's what I hear from student athletes is the most important thing, is a relationship with their teammates, right? So as we're thinking about relationships, we're also thinking about the fact that your athletic success, and certainly your academic success, but since I'm the athletic director, I'm talking about the athletic part, right, is layers upon layers upon layers upon layers, right? It's years, layers. CJ, you look a lot different than you did 2 years ago, brother. You look good. I mean, you looked good 2 years ago, but now you look good with some meat on you, right? All right? But that didn't happen like that, okay? It didn't happen. And the athletics program that we're fortunate enough to be a part of now is the same way in the whole university. It's layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. And so student athletes, you are with today some of the people, including some who are student athletes themselves, who have helped build those layers over time. There's some people in this room that used to be in this room when this thing looked like Motel 6. The old Bridger Field House, right? 1996, this building was built. Layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. Just like becoming an elite student athlete takes layers and layers and years and years and years. And so as we think about the benefits that we have today, and I think I saw on the slide earlier that we now award 226.2 equivalent scholarships at Wake Forest. We have 400 student athletes. And when Ron Wellman became our athletics director in 1992, I think it was around 115. And Jenny mentioned the volleyball team. I don't think the volleyball team had any scholarships when you played, Jenny. But now it has 12 full scholarships. And now we have 226 full scholarships. And so a person, when Ron Wellman and his wife Linda here, our athletic director from 1992 until 2019. When he started, we didn't have a volleyball team. We didn't have a women's soccer team. We didn't have any field hockey scholarships. We certainly didn't have any of these facilities and all these great things we get to enjoy. So I want to recognize our athletics director emeritus, Ron Wellman, and his wife, Linda, right over here. And so as you think about layers and layers and foundations, Tracy Piccolo, why don't you stand up? And think about Brian Piccolo, your father, who has inspired generations of Wake Foresters. And that's the relationship, student athletes, that we have here today, and the relationships that will carry forward for many years into the future. We're in an entirely new era of college athletics, right? We got more pressures and we got more opportunities and more things come around us. There's a lot of great things we can do. We mentioned this business affiliation, right? Business affiliation is another word for saying NIL, career development. How do you build your brand? How do you promote yourself using the D-Town marketplace, Evan Slocum? You know, how do you promote that, right? The number one jersey seller, a jersey, you can now buy a jersey for any student athlete in this room tonight with their name on the back of it, right? Another way that you can support student athletes, and then certainly Roll the Quad is another opportunity there. So as we think about going forward, Wake Forest Athletics, thanks to the layers and layers of support through the years from this group, and thanks to the student athletes in this room, and thanks to the leadership of our trustees and our president and the athletic directors that have come before us, we're in the best position we've ever been to face an incredibly challenging time of college athletics. And we know together we'll make it happen, and we'll continue to build on more layers of accomplishment and championships for Wake Forest. With that, there's one more thing we need to do. Is anybody's birthday here today? Anybody got a birthday today? Jewel Spear, it's your birthday. Stand up. We're going to sing happy birthday to Jewel Spear to end our program. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jewel. Happy birthday to you. Let's get to the Joel. Let's get to the couch. Let's get to the Joel tomorrow night. Go Deeks. Thank you.